and welcome to Philadelphia. A little bit grey today, but Rich and I would like to run this course over the next 2 hours, and it isn't an interactive session, so there's a couple of things. If you could avoid reading ahead on the slides, because in fact obviously some of the answers will be in future slides, and you'll have learned how to read slides rather than learn how to do proof of concept. So if you can just stay with the pace and not go ahead, that would be helpful. And we'll go along at a fair pace through the slides because I think a lot of we'd like to have 2 sessions where you interact and work together. I think that's the point of the exercise, rather than just sitting looking at slide after slide, but the slides are there to provide a basis of data upon which you can have a discussion. Okay, so without further ado, I will let you introduce yourselves when you get to the roundtable discussions rather than spend time now. So we'll get cracking on this. Really, it's about clinical proof of concept, showing that point in the drug's development that you have strong evidence that you have clinical efficacy of note, and you're now considering taking the drug further and making either further investments in phase 2 studies or in some cases moving forward into phase 3 studies. And why is this important? This is actually, you won't need to look at the outline, you've got that written down for you, and we'll just walk you through that. But the reason why this is important is that the number of approvals that have been received to major drugs it's been pretty constant over the last few years. This is this sort of red line that you can see here. This is probably about normal. This is probably an abnormal spike here where there was sort of high productivity. But the thing of note is it's the rise in the R&D investment that's going on. So there's no improvement in output despite continued and growing increases in R&D expenditure. And this slide shows you a similar sort of picture. And what you're seeing is output falling, development times increasing, and R&D expenditure going up. You do see sales going up, but I think that's just, if you like, maximising the value of what you have in hand. And clearly, if what you have in hand is starting to diminish, you're going to see a downturn in this eventually. So not a good picture. The other thing that's in here is the success rates by phase. And so what you can see here is that phase 2 is certainly the lowest. You have the lowest probability of success at that point. So it's, if you like, it's a key point in the drug's development that if you can get maximum amount of leverage in terms of improving productivity, this is where you'd focus your efforts. But worryingly, despite this low survival in phase 2, we're now also starting to see a downturn in phase 3 and submission survival. So you could afford to live with low survival here if these were high and constant. It's a bit worrying when they're high-ish and diminishing. So the other point is, of course, that the numbers of candidates in each of these phases is diminishing as well. If you simply look at the volume of work that is being done, that's going down. So from all perspectives, survival, volume, other things are sort of going against the trend of the dollar investment. So overall productivity is a problem.